Hey everyone, welcome to Creative Conversations with David and Donna. I'm David.
And I'm Donna.
And this week we're going to do things a little bit differently. We still want to talk about whatever creative news comes up that we want to speak on, but and our dynamics of our differences is really good and works really well with. She talks about Picard and I'll talk about Dan DiDio, comic books or whatever. But we wanted to do something together. So what we thought of and we thought was a good idea was to bring it sort of back to close what our original vision was, in a way of just making things and being creative. We are going to begin writing a book on air.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to, it's okay, I'm trying to explain it. So
we're going to outline and organize all of our thoughts in front of a live audience.
Yeah, we're gonna
a podcast. Audience.
Yeah, we're gonna come up with the ideas on air, being creative right here, witnessing that creative process, and you can do it along with us and just follow us along.
And definitely leave us your suggestions. That would be wonderful.
And then hopefully at the end of this,
not hopefully, we will create for your very viewing pleasure or reading pleasure a novel. We're going to create a novel. So we have not talked at all about any aspect of this except let's write a book, because my comment was what we've done together collaboratively is write 2 plays, and we write well together. And one of the reasons we wanted to work together is because we always have cool conversations. And like I've said many times, and he just mentioned, our age difference makes our conversations a little bit different than what you might hear elsewhere. But having the 2 backgrounds that we have coming together to create a novel will be something that we can share with you. It also will help us lead into the course that we're creating, which is to help you write a play. But this time we're going to use those techniques to write a novel. So we might also do a course for you on how to write a novel. But we will start today, I think, by deciding on our genre. So do we want to make science fiction, fantasy? What are we thinking, David? What is our genre?
Have you ever written science fiction?
I have not, and I love science fiction.
And I've written fantasy. I've never written science fiction.
Science fiction.
And I was thinking that you love science fiction. You love Star Trek.
I do.
I'm watching more Star Trek. Star Trek.
You become sidetracked with Star Trek.
That's what we'll be. We'll be sidetracked.
Yes.
Yes. Copyright. So genre sci-fi.
Okay.
Boom, we did it. What's next?
Let's talk about setting, character, plot, because they all are integral. So does anything jump out? I mean, is setting the future? It doesn't always have to be, but for sci-fi it usually is.
So in space or on Earth?
It could always be a little both.
A little bit of both,
That's always my answer to everything.
Let's start our story on Earth, I think.
Okay, so we're
going to start on Earth, but we can go into space, sort of.
Are we in the future?
I think we're in the future.
Do you know how far?
100 years in the future.
All right, so the year is 2120.
Yeah.
We'll just say that for now.
2120. That rolls off the tongue nicely, I think.
2120. Okay, it'd be 2121 just for the.
Ooh, 2121. I like that.
See, I'm infamous for having my notepad and pencil, so I'm writing as we go. So 2120.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll let you. What?
Okay, characters.
Yeah, what's our main character? I mean, should we go plot first? What are we gonna do here? Are we gonna do? What's the story about?
Right. So when you think of science fiction, I mean, it's always space travel, aliens.
I imagine aliens, adventure, a sense of wonder, and what's new.
Discovery.
Yeah, discovery. I think of so are we thinking is it like a Star Trek, things are going pretty well future, or is it a bit more dystopian?
I'm tired of dystopia. I'm sick of dystopia.
So what if it's somewhere in the middle? I don't think it should be quite as everything's.
It's not great. Pollyanna, right?
Right.
You got to have conflict somewhere, but just the whole idea that everything's gone to hell, I'm just not there.
What if there's what if the Earth is doing pretty great and we've gone into space travel and we've encountered some aliens and we're just now starting to build up a society in space. So maybe the society that we're building in space, on another planet, that's a bit messed up because it's just now getting started. You know what I'm saying here?
Tell me, are we colonizing alongside other aliens? Or are we taking over a planet and we don't know there are aliens that live there?
No, I think we've met. I think we're alongside other aliens.
So are we joining their civilization, or are we colonizing a planet together with them?
I think we're colonizing our own...
part of the planet?
Our own part of the planet.
And they already live there?
Or they don't already live there, but they have their own planet.
So they're going to also come and colonize part of the planet with us?
Maybe we should be even further in the future if we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's only 100 years, maybe 1,000 years in the future.
So 3121?
What if we were 3131?
3131. Oh, well, today we're doing our 33rd podcast. Oh. So it should be the year 3300 or 3333. 3 is a very important number.
I think 3333 is good. Yes, it's further in the future, so we have a bit more leeway to do stuff like that.
Yes. Okay, well then let's talk briefly about how life on Earth is different other than space travel.
Okay, good idea. How is life on Earth different, right?
In the year 3333. So what will have changed?
Let's say that on Earth, so are all the governments the same? Or I think we'd all be like sort of united if once we start space travel. There's one central government, like the United Nations.
What is going on with the environment?
The environment, I'd say that
we have made some positive changes, or we wouldn't still be here.
Right, there. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so the environment's pretty good. There's positive changes to the environment.
But is there still any kind of environmental problem? Maybe a new challenge, or maybe there's one that we haven't quite overcome. Like maybe there's no plastic, but you know what I'm saying? Emissions. Have we finally decided that water is our source of propulsion instead of gas? I'm just trying to kind of get a feel for what we're dealing with our technology on Earth.
Maybe everything's sort of solar radiated now. Solar radiation.
And wind and
solar and wind. Yeah.
Okay. Wind and solar power.
I'd say maybe the problem we're facing is that we run out of room.
Okay. So overpopulation.
Overpopulation is the problem. And so we've had to go and, the environment's doing well and we have plenty of trees planted, but
we just don't have any more space.
It's more like, we don't have any more space. And there's not a single space on Earth that isn't like a city.
Okay.
So it's almost like one giant city.
Well, then we would have pollution issues. So there has to be maybe there is as much space for green as there is for cities, but we understand that if we start encroaching on the green, that we will mess up our
right. Yeah. Okay. We can't. So that's and there's like some evil corporations who are kind of just like, oh, screw it, let's just go back, let's just cut down the trees and all that stuff.
So that could be like a side conflict in the story, maybe.
Right. That's and so. Okay. The different solutions proposed for the overpopulation is either, okay, well, let's just cut down the environment and make more cities, or let's colonize other planets.
Let me write that down. But start thinking about how the government would be dealing with these corporations that want to cut the trees. So how would we deal with that?
I'd say the UN is
well, the UN, is that the overriding? Is that the central government now?
Yeah, I'd say so. United Nations, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And so there's the president of the UN is firmly behind space travel and doesn't want to colonization and doesn't want to touch on the green or whatever. And there are just these sort of more private groups, and so we throw in a little bit of cyberpunk corporate espionage there, where that there's still a very large amount of that. And
well, it's been quite a while, so we got to talk about money here. Is there one currency?
I'd say there's one currency.
Or have we moved to more of the, I guess, border system is the closest thing I can come to, because in Star Trek there is no money. They've overcome that, and of course their star dates I think are further ahead than that. I don't even really know. As much as I watch Star Trek, I don't really know how their future, what their time is compared to how far ahead in the future they are. I go look that up. But
I think there should still be money.
There should still be money.
But one currency that everyone uses. But maybe there's different you know how Bitcoin's a thing? So there's still someone can get some gold and it's that's worth blah blah blah, but it's all whenever you go to the store, no matter where you are, you're spending in Star Wars they're called credits, but then there's units you can call it, or
okay, so how do you earn all that? Do you still have a job with a salary? You see what I'm saying? Because is there still poverty? Is there still homelessness? Have we overcome our huge problems? Because that would have something to do with people not being able to earn enough money to have a place to live in our future. So we got to determine that, I think, since it's sci-fi. What is our world?
Okay.
That's pretty big.
I feel like you are feeling like we should probably have all these kind of problems.
Well, I'm not. I'm just saying we have to address what the world is like here. Because if we're going to take these people and push them out into space, there's going to be some kind of problem on the Earth home. But there's also going to be issues with the new home. And they could tie in, or they could be opposite, or one could solve the other. Or, do you see what I'm saying? I just want to establish what it's like. What is our world like in the future, if we're going that far in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's just say we still have people working and they have to earn money.
Yeah, they still get like salaries.
So one thing that we might want to say we've gotten rid of is the, 2% of the human population who has more wealth than everybody else combined. So
it's a bit more spread out though.
It's more even.
But there's still some people who like are
grabbing the power.
That are grabbing power and that are up there, but there's
And they hoard the money and they like hide it or something.
Yeah, like there are still like the people who like hoard the money and sort of have a lot of control over things and like big business and companies and stuff like that. Like yeah, like that.
Okay, well let's talk about, instead of homeless people, like everyone is guaranteed some type of job. So what would be like that everybody would have the ability to move up. You know, we don't have like these people are on the street. Like homelessness is not a thing. Like you have the opportunity.
Yeah, so but there is no homelessness in it, and there's a guaranteed job for everybody. But the truth is, it's not all equal, and like you could end up in like a crappier home, and there is like relative slums. I would imagine that like middle class has sort of risen to a point where it's very, very comfortable. It's average to have like a fully automated AI house and very comfortable living. But if you have one of the lower end jobs, let's say you don't have quote unquote talent. So what I'm thinking now is maybe like a big problem and an issue that I have is if you don't have the skills to work a higher paid job, then you are automatically given a job and a place to live, but it's really crappy and you sort of feel forgotten and there's not a whole lot of opportunity to move up from that position.
Let's talk then about what the technology is like, just basically like when you're thinking of Star Trek with food replicators and transporters and I mean, it's so easy to just fall back on what we know, but they didn't have transport technology in Star Wars.
Right.
They you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think of like how Earth would be
and like, do we have flying cars?
I'd say we have flying cars and we have like really fast transportation system. Like you can get around the Earth pretty quickly. Like you can take a train from China to America in an hour. I'd say it's that fast.
But a train from China to America would have to go over the ocean. So would it be a train or would it be just like
It would go under the ocean.
Okay, so they've created tunnel systems around the Earth for people to travel? See what I'm saying? It's almost like it would have to be like the flying car or the flying, like it'd be a fast jet. What is that thing called that you can get on? It's the fast jet that we have now. I can't think of what I'm trying to say. But it's really no, but they're the really fast ones. Mm-hmm. There's a name.
I guess what I was imagining was just like literally a train, but it's just like the tracks, not like a tunnel, but like literally just the tracks are built over the ocean, and like they just.
So they've been able to like build a bridge over the actual ocean.
A bridge over the ocean. Yeah.
That's pretty huge.
That is huge. I know.
So we've advanced technology to the point that we can build huge bridges that literally circle the Earth, and you can get places on these massive fast trains, and there are flying cars, and everything is run with solar and wind energy. And what jobs would not even need to exist anymore because of this type of technology? What do we not see anymore? That's what I'm trying to... like, what jobs would be the lowest jobs? I mean, I guess maintenance.
Maintenance of, like, these tunnels.
Cleaning.
Maintenance and cleaning and, like, scrapping and, like, stuff like that.
Building.
Building.
Of course, building is... I mean...
well, being an actual builder, but an engineer is different from like an actual construction worker. And
yeah. So let's see.
Maybe there are some slums. Maybe all of Asia is sort of like these slums, and it's like where the workers live. And so every morning you get up and you take the train to the Americas, and that's where like you take the train to like North America, and that's where there's the business and all the big cities, and there's no wildlife left in North America. There's just none, because it's just all covered in city and infrastructure and building skyscrapers and companies and everything like that, and they produce all the jobs, everybody, and they run the maintenance, and they run the entertainment. There's like the whole East Coast is just complete, like, imagine if Broadway just took over the entire East Coast, and it's all like entertainment. And so that's actually the highest paid jobs, are people who are almost as Frank Sinatra's everywhere, you know, and that's who like kind of is all over the East Coast. And so maybe if you don't have, you know, we talk a lot about like, something we focus on a lot in Stay Creative is like, oh, everybody having their talents and being able to share their talents. So what if it's gotten to a point where it's almost like if you don't magically have this like talent to sing or whatever, then you get sort of stuck with this. You can get sort of stuck with these crappy jobs you don't want to do, and you're being told and you're being put down. And
so what we're doing is kind of flipping the way things are looked at now. Like, usually people on Broadway have to work several other jobs to survive, and we're making it to where if you have talent as an entertainer, you are the most
that's something like flipping.
So that would be one of our
like
kind of underlying messages about the importance of creativity, and how in the future, if you are talented, or if you can pursue and find a way to, or even find new forms of entertainment, that would be fun to explore. But instead of only being looked up to, or there's a word I'm looking admired because you're a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, engineer, you actually will be the most if you provide entertainment. So how is the entertainment provided? Are we talking about live performance all the time? Are we talking about people viewing you as a 3D hologram?
I'd say lots of 3D holograms, but there are live performances, but that's like the most exclusive, expensive thing. Like, only the elite of the elite can even afford to go view these live performances.
So we definitely still have a hierarchy then. See what I'm saying? I mean, in the future, will we still have such a harshly defined, I'm wealthy and you're not kind of society? You know?
I think there's always going to be rich people like that.
So is there a way we could try to even it out maybe a bit, so that it's like live performance is just what most people...
Okay, let's say we do it like this, where, you know how in the Globe Theater there were those...
the tiers.
There were the tiers, and then but you could pay for like you could get in. They were really, really cheap. Anybody could go see it, but if you can afford the really nice spots, then those do exist.
And I don't want it to be to where there's that much difference between standing on the ground and sitting in the top balcony. I want it to be where you could really do any of the three, just depending on your mood, because everybody makes basically the same money. You know, I feel like in the future we need to try to even out our society to where there's just not so many people who are unable to achieve the elite of the elite, which is how it is now. I mean, there's just absolutely just these like 8 corporations or 20 corporations that own everything, and you know the billionaires who are like 10 people in the world who own more than 50%.
Well, then what we need to establish then, what I think is like, what is the conflict in our story then? What's going to be going on? Is it a conflict between, maybe there are no problems on Earth and we can just scrap that and say that we're all good, but the conflict's going to be with aliens that we encounter?
I think that you can have conflicts even if people are on even footing with the life experience as far as what they're able to afford. The conflict would be in ideas. So the idea of should we go ahead and cut down some more trees would lead to the no, we don't want to repeat what we did in the 21st century or whatever when we, almost killed ourselves off the planet. So there are people who have forgotten that. That could be one conflict possibility. Other conflicts could maybe be, even though people have a similar salary, maybe it's just their conditions of living. Like, it's not fair that these people live in Asia and have to take a train to America. Maybe there could be that type of a conflict. Or, I don't want Earth to be Pollyanna. There has to be something to dig into there. But
it doesn't make sense to me if everybody has roughly the same salary, but there's still like a difference in where people live, and then that doesn't.
Okay, so the conflict with you has to be that there are different socioeconomic levels. Like, it has to be the rich against the poor to be a conflict.
No, it doesn't have to be rich against the poor. But I'm saying it doesn't make sense if everybody makes the same amount of money,
or at least close
to the same amount of money. But then, they're fighting because they have to live in Asia. Well, why do you even have to live in Asia if you make the same amount of money as somebody in America?
Because it's the only job they have, the only job available to them. The way you were describing it, like they live there, but the work.
So they get paid the same amount of money, but they just hate their job that they're having to do. So would that be the difference? Like, I'm a plumber, and then it could be the same issue where people who are like, I'm an engineer, and this plumber makes the same amount as me. But then it could be the plumber who's like, hey, I make the same amount as you. How come you get to live in the city and like live in this nicer place or whatever, and you're closer to all the nice stuff? Where I'm at, it's still kind of dirty and
well,
and
if we want to get into the possibility of dystopia, even though it's not really my thing, just throw it out as a possibility. Maybe things are supposed to be that way, but there are still those evil people in their corporations who really don't provide what they're supposed to, like the whole separate but equal thing in our country. It could be these people live over here, but their houses are just as good, and they have great transportation back and forth. By the way, how long would it take somebody to travel from China to the United States to work in your brain?
An hour.
An hour. So they have their hour-long commute. And so people in North America, which is, Pan Am, if we're going to get into that, Hunger Games, it's where everybody who they live where they work, they're where their entertainment capital or whatever, and they know that all these people are commuting in every day to do the grunt jobs, but they hate it. They make the same amount of money, so they're good. But they don't really realize the squalor that they're living in over here. Even though they make the same amount of money, they don't have access to the amenities, even though everybody thinks they do. The company who runs this part, or who oversees the workers, is actually keeping them down, or maybe even taking some of their money, or saying that they're spending the money on stuff like improvements for their home, but they're really not. And there's trying to uncover that. That's just something to play with. And then there's the whole who is going to be in charge of getting a group to go to another planet, and who gets chosen, and how do you get chosen? Because maybe there could be something about, everybody has equal opportunity, but these people over here are never even really considered, because even though everything is supposed to be equal in the future, human nature has not really changed, and we're saying everything's wonderful, but it's really not. So, there's just so many ways to go with that. I don't know.
I don't think you want to do that, though, do you?
I'm just trying to throw out ideas right now. This is the very first time we've talked about it, and we've already talked for 24 minutes. So
just talking about it.
We've got to wrap up our thoughts in 6 minutes about just what we're saying now, and we'll come back to it.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, well, here's what we should think about then. What do we want to be in this? What do we want? Do we want to have fun moments where we're in space? Like, when you're reading the book, do we want to have some fun, and then we can base our world around what it is we actually want to write about.
Okay.
So do we want to have fun stuff where they're on a ship and there's or they're on a spaceship and they're traveling the galaxy, and it's like, oh crap, we got to make the Kessel run in 12 parsecs. Whoa, crazy. Do we want to have fun space battles, or do we want to have do we want to have stuff like that, or do we want it to be do we want them to explore new planets? Do we want them to be stranded in a desert planet at one point? Like whatever group of characters we're following.
You're saying do we want to have a group of people that are the main characters? Because if what we're talking about was like colonizing a new planet, we would very definitely have to pick either a family or a leader and his people, or so yeah. Now,
what if what's happening is these people end up on a ship together, and they're all from the different, like some of them are from like the Asia on Earth. They're all from Earth, and maybe they're on their way. They got chosen. Like we start the story with they are like in cryo freeze on the way to the new planet. But then something goes wrong in the ship, and a couple of these people wake up, and it's just a couple of the cryos malfunction.
Okay.
So there's still all these other people that are still asleep on the ship that they're on, right? Including this is kind of like Pastor, but I'm not going to do that. Including the captain and everything, right? So it's like they're just on the ship, and they're like, oh crap, who are you? Who are you? Like they meet each other.
How many people wake up?
Roughly 7, I don't know. This is whoever we want in there, and they can all be from different walks of life, and so now they're like, crap, what's going on? Now it's up to us to somehow get to the new planet, right? And so that's how the space fun adventure ends up, as they're going there, but they're talking about Earth. So maybe we don't even see Earth in this one. Maybe there's a sequel, they go back to Earth, but they talk and we get the exposition about, or all the things we're saying about Earth. And you have this one guy, the main character, who's from Asia, and he's talking about the struggles he went through. And then you got this one chick who was from America. It's like, well, no, you guys have it all the same over there, right? And he's like, no, we don't. And they start learning about how like they were told it was all the same, but it really wasn't all the same, and that it's all kind of like everything, like you are making the same money and everything's okay, but there were some lies being told. And
the female worker is an entertainer.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe she's an entertainer and
like one of the top stars, and she's going to make sure that. Of course, I don't know if she'd be a adventurer.
Well, no, but she's there as an adventurer. She's being sent to the new planet just to be an entertainer on the new planet. Like she was chosen, she volunteered, she wanted to go, and then whenever they got to the new planet colonized, her job would be to entertain.
But would she be one of the people? I mean, are they going to a place where there's like what's the word I'm trying to say? There's nothing there, like pilgrims. That's not the word I'm trying to say. Like people.
Natives?
No, like when people were going across America to settle. What did they call those people that went across and built up the West in our country? I just can't say the word I'm trying to say.
The West? I mean the East.
No, when they when they were expanding into...
Manifest Destiny? Are you talking
There's a name for the people that went out there. They were...
Pioneers?
Pioneers, I think, is what I was trying to say. Yes, pioneers.
Yeah.
Thank you. So are they going as pioneers to like settle this unsettled, like it's a brand new planet they're starting from scratch?
Let's say there's the planet they're going to has been inhabited for 200 years. 200
years. So they're just going as part of. They're going to add.
They're just a new shipment of people.
A new shipment of people. Okay, so what we were saying earlier about the conflict of what to do about the overcrowding has already been established. They've already decided to settle another planet.
I'd say yeah, because I don't think I'd want to focus on like, oh, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna settle another planet? It's just like
we're just gonna focus on a group of people going to the other planet. Okay, now how long, if they're in cryofreeze, how long does it take them to get from Earth to this other planet? It's not in our solar system, I'm assuming.
No, I'd guess not. So let's say with the technology that we have.
Oh, that they have.
That they have. That's some like, let's say we'd have to like do actual math and learn about light years to determine such a thing.
How long is Journey?
Yeah, how long is Journey? And maybe they're about halfway they were about halfway through the journey, or they were like 75% of the way through the journey, and they woke up and it's like, well, what went wrong? And now their job is to make sure that they make the journey. Does that make sense? What I have imagined here.
Yes.
They could go through the space adventures, and maybe they end up like, what happened was they got attacked, and like there are aliens that are boarding the ship, and then they can start like action attack. It's like, what the frick? And it's like, and maybe they've never encountered aliens before.
Okay, so this is where we need to wrap it up, and we'll pick it up next time.
But it's like a group of adventurers. They're in a ship, so they have a ship, and it's full of these cryogenically frozen people. Maybe some of their own family members are on there, so there's like a personal attachment to make sure they stay safe. And they can't just wake them up because it's like you need to like wake them up in a very specific way to make sure there's no there's a risk of there being damage. So like we can even say that really 12 of the pods malfunctioned, but 4 of the people, whenever they got out, they just
some were killed.
They died because of the side effects.
Yep.
And because they didn't unfreeze them in like the right environment and the right stuff, so they don't want to just wake everybody else up because there's a risk.
Gotcha.
So that's why they can't do that. But maybe like later there's like we need to wake the captain up. We got to take the risk. And so that's like the tension there, and they now it is now their job to make sure the ship safely gets to the new planet.
Now, do they have communication? Maybe their communication's been knocked out or something. So they can't just call for some other ship to come get them or something.
Right. Well, they could call for another ship, but like
years.
It would take years. Yeah, it would take too long.
Months.
So maybe they have contact with. Maybe they're close enough to the planet that they're heading to have contact. So they talk to a guy who can like kind of talk them through how to fly the ship. So they have some basic knowledge or whatever, but they can't like. He's like, I don't know what we're supposed to do here. Like, you just got to get it here, man.
Gotcha. Well, this is where we can pick up. So David and I have decided that an hour has been something that we've decided to trim down. So we're going to make our planning sessions 30 minutes at a time. And this is just our very first thoughts. And it'll be so interesting to take these thoughts and see how they change and morph as we add more details. Yeah. Because I just always ask 100,000 questions about what about this, what about that, what about this. And half of what I said might not even be used. But to me, that's how you get a basis and a foundation for building. Yeah. So we have started something now. We have a working title, maybe.
Oh,
Leaving Earth, finding a new home.
Terra 2.
Terra 2.
Maybe they're headed towards Terra 2. The journey to Terra 2. I don't know.
Okay, so this is where we're going to start today, and we will keep you posted on our journey to write Terra 2.
Or the journey to Terra 2, or the, I don't know, working title. Right. We just came up with all of that at this time. In 30 minutes. Yeah. Well, all right. So do we want to spit any creative news that we had in mind? I don't think there's anything we really need to talk about.
I mean, we've just kind of rehashed so much that unless we can find somebody to interview or unless there's something that we just feel like saying, I'm going to let our 30-minute planning sessions take us through the next many episodes, and we'll see how that goes for us.
Sounds great. So, guys, just a little business to settle here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out all of our other podcasts, Positive Conversations, and the other 32 episodes of Creative Conversations. Also, I recently did that tier list video that's been up for now. I rank every single comic book movie ever made. Over 120 movies.
And the video is 2 hours and...
2 hours and like 10 minutes long. I review and rank all of them in a tier list. It was insane, and I'm going to have more of those coming. Also, don't forget to check out the Sciencefictionary Podcasts. Those links are in the description. I go in there and talk about all sorts of nerdy stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening to this brand new adventure that we're starting here. Right. I think it's good that we're writing about an adventure.
Yes.
And I like where it's going. Our adventure, together. Right. Leave your suggestions in the comments. Thank you guys so much for listening to Creative Conversations of David and Donna. I'm David.
And I'm Donna.
Stay creative.